Episode 9, Phantoms. It's your boy Icon with some DC TV, and we's back from Miami. And I'm very upset about that because it is cold here in New York. But we're still here, and we're still reviewing the television, so let's talk about The Flash. So, in this particular episode, it's a continuation from the last episode because we still got the meta serial killer on the loose. So Team Flash, they're still investigating. We're still digging into the cold fusion and trying to decipher, like the cold fusion stuff and blah, blah, blah. And, they're still coming up with stupid reasons for Caitlin and Killer Frost to not be in the same place at the same time, which is really stupid. And again, I wish, it's like, I understand that shooting Caitlin with the mirror gun in the mirror season, I understand that the mirror gun was supposed to separate people into two different versions of themselves, like their regular version and then their mirror version. I understand that. And it makes perfect sense that if you shoot Caitlin of all people with that same gun, instead of her getting a mirror version of herself, you're actually going to get Killer Frost because two of them inhabited the one body. But I thought that was going to be a temporary thing, and they were going to bring them back together at some point, because I like Caitlin turning into Killer Frost. I don't like them being two people. And they stuck with the fact that they're two people, and now we just get all these stupid, ridiculous reasons for why Caitlin and Killer Frost can't be in the same place at the same time, and it's really annoying. But anyway, so while they're looking into it, another person had died, another person was burned alive. And, Chester goes down to investigate it, and while Chester goes down there, he's still feeling a little weird, still feeling a little antsy. Cecile picks up on his vibes. She asks him what was wrong. Chester was like, nothing. He was like, it's all in my head. While Chester's at Star Labs, he ends up seeing like the fire, like the black fire meta that apparently is burning up all these people. But for Chester, it's a little different because when he comes in contact with this weird meta ability, he ends up seeing his dead father. And he ends up seeing the moment where his father died and the fact that he couldn't save his father, and it starts like bringing him down and getting all emotional about it. Not everybody on the team had that dream. It was only Chester that was having that dream, and he got to a point where he was really like freaking out and wigging out because he assumed that the meta wasn't a meta. He thought it was a ghost, and he thought that it was the ghost of his dead dad, which was haunting him to get his revenge on him for not saving him all those years ago. And then, Team Flash tried to talk to him about it. Allegra, she went to go talk to him specifically because she was just like, because Chester didn't want to tell anybody else what was really going on with him. But Allegra was like, no, he'll talk to me. And I was like, oh. And so she goes and talks to him. He gives her the story about how he keeps seeing his dead dad, about how he's seeing images of his dad and how this is a ghost that's coming to haunt him. Allegra tries to talk him down, and then she tells him, like, that's not the case. She was like, this isn't some weird ghost purgatory thing. She's like, it's all in your mind. And then that's when the alarm goes off and they find out that the metahuman ghost is actually here in Star Labs. So the Flash and Killer Frost, they go down to try to stop it, but they can't stop it. Barry tried to use like his wind tunnel thingy, and he said it didn't work. He was like how he can't put the fire out, and now Killer Frost and Flash, they're trapped in a pool of black fire, but he phased both him and Killer Frost to make sure that the fire couldn't touch him. So then the fire made its way into Chester's lab, and then when Chester saw the fire manifested itself to actually look like Chester's dad. And then that's when Chester completely lost it because he was just like, oh, it's my dad, he's come to get me. And then his dad even said to him, he was like, oh, you don't belong here, son, you belong in the afterlife with me or whatever. And then his dad stuck out his hand, and he was like, take my hand, son. But then Cecile, she was able to feel the emotion coming from the fire. And she knew that it was a lie. She knew that it wasn't true. And she knew that the fire was trying to trick Chester, into getting him to take his hand. Because once Chester would have taken his hand, he would have burnt alive and he would have turned into charcoal just like everybody else. Allegra ends up talking to Chester. She gets into his ear. She tells him that's not really your dad, and your dad would love you, and he would want you to be healthy, and blah, blah, blah. And then that's when Chester came to, and he was just like, yeah, you're right. He was like, Mr. Runk, Mr. P. Runk, he was like, he would be proud of me. And then there's like this montage of him like with his dad in Star Labs and taking pictures of the Flash suit. And he said his dad would encourage him. His dad wouldn't want him to sacrifice himself like that. And then that's when he was just like, no, he's like, I'm not going to take your hand, and I cast thee out of my house. And then that's when the fire was like, yeah, and then, it disappeared. So then after that, they later determined it's not a metahuman. The fire isn't a person. They said that the fire, it's basically a metahuman flame. Like an actual real fire got hit with dark matter, and the fire itself, the flame, came to life. And then they said that flame, that fire, because of its metahuman ability, that fire can prey on people's emotions. It can prey on people's darkest fears and sadness. They said that every single victim that fire had burnt ended up having like a tragedy in its life, and that fire can prey on those tragedies and bring those people down. And the whole point of it is just the fire is for them to have their grief be so bad that the fire can turn into the person that they're grieving over, and then when the fire extends its hand, quote unquote, and that person takes their hand, then it can burn them alive and it can feed off their energy and feed off their power. But the fire disappeared because it couldn't feed off of Chester, and then now it's like somewhere in the wind, but the fire still exists, and Team Flash still has to figure out a way to stop it.
So this is definitely going to continue, and we'll see where it goes from here, and with this new metahuman that's apparently burning its way through Central City. I saw in the coming attractions for the next episode that Killer Frost is going to take a stab at it, so we'll see what happens with Killer Frost as we continue. Now, for the Iris portion of the story, Iris, she had a meeting with Dion, and Dion attempted to, quell the still within her, but she told him about the time jumps that she's having where she's losing time. Dion said that he found something in her system, but he was like, I'll go look. He said, I'll look into it, and then I'll get back to you, and I'll let you know what's going on. When, so Dion dipped. But because Iris was kind of like freaking out over it, she had it on her mind, and she needed something to take her mind off it. Sue Dearborn, who owns the building that CC Media is in, she came to visit her family's holdings. They never mentioned Ralph, and they were just like talking, chatting it up, but then they got a hit that there are new metas sighted in other places, other cities like Coast City. And then they did say that there are random, because Iris was like, well, how could there be a new meta that came out that wasn't created in Central City? And then that's when Sue was just like, yeah, but metas are appearing all over the world, and it only takes like an emotional response or something for that metahuman gene to kick in on everybody. So he said it's not just Central City. But they don't say where they got their power to begin with, because in Central City it's the dark matter, from the particle accelerator. But apparently the new metas are popping up all over the streets, so we're trying to figure out who these new metas are and how we can get a hold of them. So then Iris, in an effort to take her mind off of the time thing, her and Sue Dearborn, they go down to Coast City. They end up finding the meta. They bumped into the girl. The girl ain't had nothing to do with them. She told them to kick rocks, and then, then she dipped. But Iris, being the reporter that she is, she found the girl. They actually spoke to her, had a conversation with her, and then Iris, she deduced, she discovered that that girl was actually an orphan who was searching for her mom. Her mom gave her up when she was a kid, and now that the girl has superpowers, she wants to find her mom and prove to her mom that she is somebody and that she's worth, loving, and hopefully her mom will take her back. So then Iris gave her the Flash speech, and then she told her that if you want, she said, I will help you find your mom as long as you come with me. So this might be something now where Iris is like collecting metahumans, where she's just going around, just trying to like bring them in. She even said that this girl could be a hero just like the Flash, and, I'm fine with that, but if we were going to do something like that, I wish it would have been a more known superhero if we were going to go that route, but we'll see. We'll see where this goes. Can't complain yet. I mean, all the girl can do is walk through walls, so like it's not like she has like the greatest power of all time. Like I said, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. They're back at the hotel, and then Iris was talking to Barry at the hotel, and then Barry was like, yo, Sue Dearborn, she's stupid rich, and then while Iris was talking to Barry, then Dion showed up, and then Iris was like, oh, what's the matter? Did you find out about my Steel Force situation? And he was like, I did, and it's not good. You need to have a seat. And that's how the episode ended. So that was it. And thank you for tuning in. So I am interested in the slow burn story for Iris getting her time suit and what they're actually going to do with her time powers and how that's going to manifest into something great. As far as like this fire meta is concerned, because again, we're not talking about a meta. We're talking about like actual fire, like legitimate fire, like fire, like Lord Jesus is a fire. So fire is on the loose, and I don't know how we going to stop like actual fire, but it's Team Flash. So, they'll come up with some medical mumbo jumbo. And then also Allegra and Chester. I mean, it's just like, we already saw them kiss in the Armageddon crossover, so they just need to do the damn thing. And that was funny too, because when Iris was talking to Dion about her Still Force situation, about her time situation, she brought up Armageddon. She said that she's having like these weird dreams and these flashbacks. She's skipping time. She's moving time. They did show the scene where she was at the train station with Dion in Armageddon, because remember, that was an alternate timeline that got erased. But then Dion was like, a girl. He's like, I don't even remember that. So it's like she has vibe, she has like the Cisco vibe power, only with her it's through time. So she's able to transport herself through multiple points in time. She can see different points in time. They're probably just going to turn her into the new Cisco since Cisco's gone. But like I said, I'm here for it, and I want to see where this goes and where this goes with this whole black fire flash thing, like flash fire thing. And so, hey, share your thoughts and we'll talk about it. Hit me up on Twitter or Instagram. Always on YouTube, where I can respond back about what's going on with The Flash and other DC TV. For you Marvel fans, we're doing Dr. Midnight or Dr. Moon Knight or Dr. Moonlight or whatever his name is. We're doing Superman. Well, I got the last 2 episodes of Superman and Lois. Superman and Lois doesn't come back until the 30th, and then Superman and Lois and Naomi don't come back until April 26th. So we got 30 days for that coming up. But we're still doing the Flash. As the Flash comes out, we're gonna do Dr. Moon Knight, and guess who's back, baby? That Young Justice. So until then, take care, and until next time, guys, I love you.